Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The NFL world is buzzing like never before after what might just be the most audacious move of the offseason. The Miami Dolphins officially landing Derrick Henry, the Tennessee Titans powerhouse running back, in a deal that has stunned fans, analysts, and even some front office insiders. Derrick Henry, known for his sheer size, speed, and punishing running style, has long been a game-changer in the league, capable of carrying entire offenses on his broad shoulders. Now, the Dolphins are rolling the dice in a manner that could either catapult them to the very top of the AFC or become the most talked-about risk of the decade. Sources say Miami parted ways with not one, but two of its current stars, leaving a gaping hole in their roster, yet providing the cap space and draft flexibility necessary to accommodate Henry's massive contract. The move is being framed by some insiders as a win-now maneuver, clearly signaling the franchise's intent to chase a Super Bowl in the next 2 to 3 seasons. Fans are taking to social media with a mix of excitement and trepidation, debating whether losing proven talent for one elite player is a stroke of genius or a high-stakes gamble bordering on reckless. Derrick Henry's arrival in Miami doesn't just add muscle and speed to the Dolphins' backfield. It reshapes the entire offensive identity of the team. The Dolphins, historically known for a balanced attack, suddenly have a hammer in their hands capable of pounding defenses into submission on any given Sunday. Analysts are drawing comparisons to some of the most dominant running back-centered teams in NFL history, suggesting that Henry's unique combination of power, vision, and breakaway speed could elevate Miami from playoff contender to perennial threat. Yet, the shadow of the players sent the other way looms large. Two key stars, who had become fan favorites for their consistency and leadership, have been shipped out, creating an emotional and tactical void that fans are struggling to comprehend. Rumors indicate that locker room dynamics may shift dramatically as Henry integrates into the team, demanding a recalibration of offensive schemes and player hierarchies. Critics argue that sacrificing depth and cohesion for one marquee name is a perilous strategy, leaving Miami vulnerable if injuries strike or Henry's dominant form wanes. Still, the Dolphins' front office appears undeterred, banking on Henry's proven ability to dominate even under the toughest defensive pressures in the league. The timing of the trade adds another layer of intrigue to an already electrifying offseason. With the NFL draft looming and free agency still in full swing, Miami has signaled to the rest of the league that they are all in, willing to risk established talent for an immediate boost in championship potential. Derrick Henry, meanwhile, enters a team with new coaching philosophies, play-calling adjustments, and an offense that will inevitably revolve around his strengths. Rumors suggest intensive behind-the-scenes planning, with offensive coordinators working around the clock to design plays that maximize Henry's punishing running style, while minimizing exposure to defensive schemes specifically crafted to stop him. Meanwhile, the fans are left in a state of frenzied speculation. Will Miami's gamble pay off with a deep playoff run, or will it backfire spectacularly, leaving the team exposed in multiple positions? Social media debates are rampant, with some predicting instant dominance and others forecasting chaos. This trade, more than any in recent memory, has reignited the old NFL debate over quantity versus quality, depth versus star power, and the inherent risks of betting everything on a single transformative talent. The human element of this trade cannot be overstated, as Derrick Henry's personality, work ethic, and presence in the locker room are all now under intense scrutiny. Fans and analysts alike are dissecting past interviews, training habits, and even off-field conduct to predict how well Henry will mesh with the Dolphins' culture. The two outgoing stars leave behind not just skill but relationships, leadership structures, and fan goodwill that the franchise will need to rebuild. Inside sources hint at potential friction points as Henry, accustomed to a Titan system built around him, adapts to new teammates and coaches with different expectations. Meanwhile, Dolphins fans are reportedly torn between excitement for the headline-making acquisition and sorrow over losing beloved players, creating a unique tension rarely seen in team sports. This combination of anticipation and uncertainty fuels endless speculation, with podcasters, sports writers, and YouTubers alike spinning theories about the trade's long-term impact on team chemistry, playoff prospects, and league-wide ripple effects. Every practice session, preseason game, and press conference will now be scrutinized under the lens of how is Henry changing Miami in ways that could define the franchise's next chapter. Financial implications of the Derrick Henry trade also add layers of complexity to Miami's gamble. The salary cap, already a tightrope for many NFL franchises, will now be tested in unprecedented ways, with the Dolphins allocating significant resources to one player while ensuring they maintain flexibility for remaining roster needs. Analysts are poring over the numbers, calculating projected cap hits, bonus structures, and potential future adjustments, debating whether this investment aligns with sustainable team-building strategies. Meanwhile, Henry's contract, rumored to include performance incentives and hefty guarantees, represents a monumental commitment, not just financially, but strategically. Critics argue that if Henry fails to meet expectations, Miami could find themselves in a scenario where roster depth suffers long-term consequences, potentially hampering future drafts or free agent acquisitions. Conversely, supporters contend that securing a transcendent talent like Henry, capable of carrying games and dominating defensive lines, is worth short-term sacrifices for a shot at glory. Amid this whirlwind, the Dolphins' front office exudes confidence, framing the trade as a calculated risk that positions the team as a legitimate Super Bowl contender, daring the league to respond. As the news spreads, the broader NFL community is captivated by the implications of this blockbuster trade. Rival teams are undoubtedly reassessing their strategies, defensive game plans, and roster moves in response to Miami's audacious acquisition. Sports media outlets are running continuous cycles of analysis, debate, and speculation, each adding layers of drama and hype to an already sensational story. Derrick Henry, meanwhile, becomes more than a player. He is a symbol of Miami's aggressive vision, a tangible sign that the Dolphins are willing to gamble everything for championship aspirations. Fans, analysts, and rival franchises are united in one way. The NFL landscape has irrevocably shifted, and no one is entirely sure what will happen next. Every rumor, leak, and insider tip is now scrutinized as potential foreshadowing of the Dolphins' strategy in the upcoming season. The league is watching, fans are reacting, and the story of Derrick Henry's Miami chapter is only beginning to unfold, promising weeks, months, and perhaps years of debate, drama, and unforgettable football moments. The ripple effects of Derrick Henry's arrival in Miami extend far beyond the Dolphins' own roster, creating a seismic shift in how opponents are preparing for the upcoming season. Teams across the league are reportedly revisiting defensive schemes, examining game film, and brainstorming innovative ways to contain a running back whose combination of size, speed, and agility has historically overwhelmed even the most disciplined defenses. Rumors have surfaced that certain AFC rivals are considering strategic trades, draft moves, and free agent signings specifically aimed at countering Miami's newfound power in the backfield. Meanwhile, fans continue to debate whether the Dolphins' gamble on Henry will inspire other franchises to take similarly high-stakes risks, or if Miami has uniquely positioned itself to capitalize on one player's dominance. Social media is ablaze with highlight reels, speculative analysis, and hypothetical scenarios depicting Henry bulldozing through defensive lines, reaching the end zone at will, and reshaping the identity of the Dolphins' offense. Inside sources suggest that the team is simultaneously focused on maintaining depth and mitigating potential weaknesses created by the departure of the two outgoing stars. The tension between excitement and apprehension has created a charged atmosphere around Miami, where optimism is tempered by the very real possibility of the gamble backfiring under the pressure of elite competition and the unforgiving grind of the NFL season. Speculation about Derrick Henry's fit with the Dolphins' coaching staff adds another layer of intrigue, as insiders indicate that multiple meetings took place between Henry and the offensive coordinators to align philosophies and play designs. The discussions reportedly revolved around maximizing Henry's physical gifts while integrating him into a system that previously relied on a more balanced attack. Rumors suggest that the coaching staff is designing packages specifically tailored to Henry's strengths, including inside zone runs, power sweeps, and even creative misdirection plays to exploit defensive tendencies. Meanwhile, the locker room dynamics are under the microscope, with teammates adjusting to a new hierarchy that places Henry as an immediate focal point of the offense. Critics argue that such a high-profile acquisition could inadvertently create friction, particularly if existing leaders feel their roles diminished or if the team struggles to maintain cohesion amidst changing responsibilities. Despite these concerns, the Dolphins' management is reportedly confident that Henry's proven leadership, professionalism, and work ethic will allow him to integrate seamlessly. Fans, analysts, and league insiders alike are fixated on how quickly the transition can occur, knowing that early chemistry in training camp and preseason games may determine whether Miami's bold gamble translates into sustained dominance or exposes vulnerabilities under pressure. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? The media frenzy surrounding the Derrick Henry trade has been relentless, with analysts dissecting every angle, statistic, and precedent in search of clues about the trade's long-term impact. Pundits are comparing Miami's aggressive move to some of the most famous trades in NFL history, weighing the potential rewards against the inherent risks of betting heavily on one player. Rumors continue to swirl regarding the identities of the two stars sent away, with speculation about how their departures will impact team morale, fan perception, and offensive balance. Some sources suggest that the Dolphins' front office is prepared for backlash from loyal supporters, framing the trade as a calculated risk designed to attract not only immediate attention but also long-term success. Meanwhile, fans are engaged in heated debates online, weighing the trade's merits, predicting how defenses will adapt, and envisioning Derrick Henry's potential highlight reel performances. The storyline has transcended traditional sports coverage, spilling into social media virality, podcasts, and sports commentary videos, each narrative adding layers of tension and anticipation. As rumors continue to circulate, the NFL landscape is subtly reshaped, with rival teams reevaluating priorities, game plans, and even personnel decisions to prepare for a Miami Dolphins team that now carries a transformative talent capable of redefining offensive strategy in real time. Beyond the field, the cultural and branding implications of Derrick Henry joining Miami are generating buzz in ways that extend past pure football strategy. Marketing insiders and sports business analysts are already speculating on merchandise sales, ticket demand, and sponsorship opportunities directly influenced by Henry's presence. Rumors indicate that the Dolphins could leverage Henry's image to boost fan engagement, social media content, and global recognition, particularly in regions where Henry's dominance has already made him a household name. While some critics argue that the focus on individual star power could overshadow team identity, proponents suggest that such a move reinforces Miami's ambition, signaling to fans and the league that the franchise is willing to invest heavily in a single player capable of changing outcomes on any given Sunday. Meanwhile, Henry himself is reportedly embracing the challenge, training intensively, studying Miami's playbook, and building rapport with teammates to ensure that his integration is as smooth as possible. Behind the scenes, coaches, trainers, and front office executives are coordinating to balance his workload, optimize performance, and mitigate the risk of injury, knowing that the stakes could not be higher. The Dolphins' gamble, therefore, extends beyond talent evaluation into brand strategy, financial projection, and cultural impact, transforming a football trade into a multifaceted story with implications across multiple dimensions of the sports world. Rumors surrounding potential playoff implications have also begun to dominate conversation among analysts, with many suggesting that Derrick Henry could be the catalyst for a championship run that Miami fans have long awaited. The combination of a bruising, game-breaking back with an increasingly versatile passing attack creates a threat that opposing defenses must respect on every down. Speculation abounds about the specific ways coaches will utilize Henry in high-stakes matchups, particularly in divisional games and potential postseason scenarios where his ability to control the clock and wear down defenses could prove decisive. Meanwhile, former players and commentators are weighing in, comparing Miami's current situation to historical examples of teams taking calculated risks on a single superstar and the mixed outcomes that ensued. Fan forums are flooded with projections, mock playbooks, and hypothetical what-if scenarios as supporters imagine Henry bulldozing through rival lines. turning close contests into statement victories and potentially redefining Miami's playoff trajectory. Internal sources hint that the team is meticulously analyzing data on Henry's performance under pressure, stamina trends, and defensive tendencies to optimize every carry. The overarching narrative, fueled by rumor, speculation, and insider insight, paints a picture of a Dolphins franchise at a crossroads where one player's presence could shift fortunes dramatically, creating either a new era of dominance or an unforgettable cautionary tale for years to come. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.